Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, most home sellers have a great deal of love for their properties, and sometimes that translates into an unrealistic belief, resulting in mistakes either in agent selection, pricing, marketing, or all three of them. What should a home seller do if their house is not selling?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I think people decide on who they're going to let handle the sale, not based on performance necessarily. It might just be, well, I like that agent. They sold me the home. They're a nice person, but do they really know what they're doing? And I don't think enough sellers ask some tough questions like, how many homes have you sold in the last year? And I'll give you the stats right now. It's according to, these are MLS data stats. I'm not talking about, making up this stuff. Basically, the MLS says 81% of agents sell 3 or less homes per year. You can make more money working at McDonald's doing that, and I think a lot of them do have other jobs. I get calls all the time from agents that are have contracts on my listings from their jobs, restaurants, bars, dealerships, whatever. And I know that they have to do that to support their income. So it's just a part-time gig for them. Do you really want somebody that's in real estate part-time selling one of your largest assets and not knowing what's going on? Anyway, according to Zillow, 72% of agents sold 0 homes last year. It's pretty accurate. And there's more than 87% turnover in the real estate industry every 5 years, meaning every 5 years, a majority, almost 90%, are out and going to do something else because they can't make it in the industry or it's not enough income to support them. And that's just an education problem. I took the time, I invested in my education. I learned how to market. I learned from some of the best real estate agents in the country. And now we're in this group together and we share all the best ideas to help us help our clients and grow our business. But there's another issue, which is pricing. So pricing, it should be a collaborative decision between the seller and the agent based on good factual data. But what happens is some agents think that, oh, if I go tell the seller I can get him $1 million, they'll list with me and then nobody will show up. And then I'll beat them down on price later and go, oh, see, this other agent said it's not worth that much, right? And that kind of sets the stage for a very awkward relationship between the listing agent and the seller. I mean, most home sellers want the most money. Not all of them. Some people want speed. They want out of the trap for whatever reason. And the problem is you can't rely on those automated values like Zillow's estimates or Realtor.com's 3 different automated values or the ones that you get from your credit card statements. Those aren't accurate. Those are just, an average of homes around you, but they may not be real comparable sales. And what's interesting is I think the buyers are more educated than real estate agents about the price range and what they are searching for. They know every home that's hitting the market. They know where it's priced. They know where the best deals are. They can smell a deal a mile away, but the real estate agents many times can't see it. They can't, oh, well, they want this much. And the problem is it's not the agent that decides. It's not the seller that decides. It's the market. The buyers decide how much they're going to pay. So they can sense a good deal. I just wrote an offer last weekend on a property for one of our buyers. We had 4 competing offers. They made what was their best offer, but their offer did not get accepted. So what that agent did, they did the right thing. They set the stage by pricing it very realistically and getting multiple buyers in there to make offers. That meant that it definitely sold over asking price. but that's the right way to do it. If you price it high, they're going to pick it apart. It wasn't a perfect house. It had probably the most dramatic paint I've seen in a while. There's a turquoise wall and an orange wall and a yellow wall, and it wasn't really a true 4-bedroom. In fact, I really think it was only 2. But for some reason, because they priced it right, buyers, just forgave all sins. So that is the way to get all sins forgiven, is to price it right. That's it. I know, because I list a lot of homes that have been repossessed, and those aren't that pretty most of the time. They have issues, and the buyers just jump on them with bidding wars because it's pricing. Promotion also is a factor. If your agent is not properly promoting the home, it's a problem. Now, everybody thinks that, oh, we just follow what everybody tells us to do and stick the home in the multiple listing service and let the buyers come and all that stuff. However, the multiple listing service is like the KGB. They won't let us market. They want us all to be the same. They won't let us say anything that benefits the house. Like, by the way, buyer, you could assume this 2.5% interest rate loan and save $500,000 on interest over the life of the loan. We can't say that in our local MLS. We can't even say they're including a home warranty. That's how crazy they are. They've never been to marketing school. They don't know what they're doing. But I work around them. We find a way to deal with that. Another thing is when it is time to make a switch. Now, a lot of people think that they have to endure the entire term of their current agreement with their agent if it's not working, but that may not be true. There is a paragraph in the state form that basically says that if the agent is not performing to what they promised, either verbally or in writing, you have the right to terminate. And I've seen all kinds of shenanigans. We just sold a house where this agent, who was a broker of a rather large company, was fired. And what he demanded at that point is, oh, well, I want your new agent to pay me a quarter of the commission just because. And she's like, no, you didn't perform. You didn't present offers to me. He told her about an offer, but he never showed her an offer, and he did a lot of mistakes that were really a problem. So at the end of the day, they fired him, they hired me, and he claims, okay, well, I won't charge your new agent money because I went to church and prayed about it. Is that weird, Richard? I mean,
I am always surprised at how many people pray about things and
it's okay
rely
to pray.
100% on that. I mean, I believe in God. I believe in the power of prayer, but I think God, the analogy I use, Barb, is so you're in the ocean, a huge storm comes up, and you're praying to God for deliverance. And He would say, you know what? The praying thing is good, but you ought to keep rowing for shore. I expect you to kind
Right.
of do both.
Yeah, and it's a contract. Okay. Every time I've been in courtrooms, which I try to avoid that like the plague, they're very focused on what's the word, what was in writing. Is that true, Richard? I mean, you went to law school, you've been in more courtrooms than I have.
No, I think that's absolutely true.
And the contract doesn't say that if the seller fires you, you have to get money from the new agent. It doesn't say that. I don't know where that came from, but it's people some agents try to leverage things that don't exist. So anyway, so what are the issues? Typically things like no communication. It's not selling. It's not marketed. They're not reacting to what the seller is asking them to do. I actually had one very recently. It was a buyer agent that brought a contract on my listing, and he literally abandoned his own buyer. In fact, we had a contract. We didn't reach agreement on inspection. The contract says if you don't by this deadline, deal's off, right? So deal was off. I put it back on the market. We tried to get the buyer back in. He kept ghosting me. And then finally, like 2 weeks later, he's like, well, we want this repair and that repair. I said, okay, well, first we're going to have to go back in contract again. We're not in contract. And he goes, what do you mean we're not in contract? And I'm like, dude, you don't know we're not in contract? I mean, it's astounding to me that they don't know. Some of these agents don't know basics. I was so mad that he said that to me on text. I said, look, you need to ask your broker. I'm not your broker. Don't ask me about how this hard stop deadline, it puts you out of contract. And it got worse. So here we are 2 months after it blew up. Still to this day, he hasn't asked for the buyer's earnest money back, which was legit to do that. So finally, we just got another buyer. We just sent it to him. Here, get the earnest money back, because I feel sorry for the buyer. It's really abandoned. But what most agents do when they list is they do what I call post and hope. They hope somebody else has a buyer. And it doesn't work that way. I mean, you have to attract. That's what marketing is all about. You know, in this sea of marketing that we see every day on our phones and on our computers and driving down the street, you know, how do you stand out in the sea of thousands of houses on the market is what we're trying to solve. And we do it. And it works for us. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900. My name is Barb Schlinker. I am the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and the broker and owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb Has a Buyer's team. So we're talking about how do you change agents when the sale isn't working? And exactly how is what we're going to talk about after the break. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. So, Barb, if a home seller has to make a real estate agent switch, what are reasons and ways to change real estate agents?
Well, I mean, you have to pay close attention, because what a lot of people don't know is the standard contract, which a licensed agent is forced to use in this state. It doesn't promise the consumers anything except, I'll do my due diligence and I'll present all written offers and I'll disclose any broken things. But there's nothing about marketing. There's nothing about pricing realistically. There's nothing about communicating. It's pretty bad. It's really bad. It offers almost nothing. So if you do sign an agreement, you need an agent that actually makes promises. Are they communicating with you? Are they telling you how they're going to do marketing? Are they sharing that with you? Are they giving you feedback on what's the showing? All that stuff. Are they promising that or not? Many of the sellers will tell me the other agents that I talked to didn't show them any of this stuff that we show them. And they just said, oh, your house is worth that much. Sign here. And they expect a 6-month plus commitment of making a lot of money and doing, maybe hopefully taking professional photos, not always. And then, you know, trying to make all this money, and they're just hoping some other agent has a buyer. To me, that is not a solution. It doesn't work. So the seller has a right to cancel if they've been abandoned, if they haven't been communicated with, or if the agent does not perform their written oral agreements. So what are those? Be clear about those. I had one seller a few years ago that was very uncomfortable about firing their agent. And I said, well, was there anything he promised you that he didn't do? He goes, yeah, we asked him to update the pictures. The pictures were awful, which was true. He used his smartphone for a beautiful home. Everybody was passing that home by, and he overpriced it. So both of those meant nobody was looking at the house. And so he asked him to update the photos. The seller even spent thousands of dollars and had professional staging furniture put in this vacant home to get it sold. But because the photos were still so bad and he didn't update it, it didn't sell. So he asked him to do it. He didn't do it. Boom, he got fired. Sorry. And we sold it, by the way, in 9 days. So that's just one example. It's not something people like to do. They have to break the bad news to their current agent, but just be tactful and honest, and you know, they should release you if they have not performed according to what you expect. Anyway, if you have any questions about it, give me a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. That's Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, you can call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll be discussing what are the typical costs of selling a home. Barb has that for you as soon as we come back.